What's going on, YouTube? Thanks for tuning into the Rolling Times. Today we got a customer's car here for ZB Auto. He just bought the car. It's got some boost issues. Apparently it only boosts to like 8 psi. It's breaking up a bit. So we're just gonna go take it for a test drive, see what's going on with it, and then just do a general look over the entire car. Just taking a look here. We got the boost controller not even hooked up to anything, so well it's plugged in, it's just not connected to the wastegate. Looks like a bunch of vacuum lines and evap stuff was ripped off, which may or may not be an issue if it was done correctly, which I'm assuming it wasn't. Big old crack in the BBS there. Ready to take her for a rip? Sounds like a 1.8 turbo. Safety first. Okay. Shift linkage is not adjusted right. Okay, it doesn't know what it wants to do. Lights.
Camera. Action.
You got low beams, marker lights, high beams, fogs, marker light, left turn signal, right turn signal. Yep. Brake lights. Reverse. Got a tag light out. After checking the lights, we're going to scan the codes. There is a check engine light, so hopefully that points us in the right direction, or maybe tells us some info we don't know. I have a OBD2 Bluetooth adapter here. You guys can get this on Amazon. They're like $10. And then I think I have the paid version, but they have a free version too, the Torque Pro app. This will scan check engine codes. You can also set up some different graphs on there, look at real-time computer info. For a free or cheap app, I mean, all said and done, even if you get the Pro version, you're like 20 bucks into it. It beats the $30, $40 scan tools you're going to get down at AutoZone or whatever. And it's just nice to have something that you can do some data with while you're driving. It obviously doesn't replace like a Snap-on or Autel like fancy scan tool, but I do like using this a lot. It's nice for mobile. The only thing is I do forget these in almost every car I work on, so I've bought a few of them now, so don't do that. So then we can go here, scan fault codes. Alright, so that's not really telling us a whole lot. We got clutch switch input circuit malfunction. I believe this thing is tuned, so it might have a lot of stuff like turned off in the ECU, or it could just be that the codes were cleared recently, or it had a new battery in it. I want to go ahead, finish looking over the car, and then we'll probably hook up that N75 valve, take it for a spin, see what it does. We're going to take a look at the motor mounts before we jack it up. The procedure here, have one person in the car, e-brake on. You might want to chalk the wheels just in case. Have somebody hold the brake. If it's an automatic, you can just give it a little bit of gas. If it's a manual, you can try and give it a little bit of gas, but really just letting the clutch out a little bit till it grabs in first and reverse is going to show us if the motor mounts are shot. Go ahead and fire it up, Brandy. You saw the motor shake a little bit there. Really? Okay. Alright, try reverse. on. Let me grab the light. Probably don't want to stand in front of the car, but if Brandy kills me, she gets all my stuff, so. We got a little bit of play in that. Actually, that trans mount's pretty bad. This motor mount over here, it's hard to see, but it's definitely not moving as much as that trans mount. And then the dog bone underneath is probably definitely shot. They always are, but we'll check that when we're underneath the car with the pry bar.
Don't worry, you can hit my bicycle. I don't care as much about it as my bike.
I'm gonna try not to hit anything anymore. Now that we got the car safely up on jack stands, give it a good push, make sure everything feels sturdy. We're gonna go around and check our steering and suspension. The quickest way to do that, you're gonna wanna make sure the wheel, obviously the lug nuts are still tight. Take the wheel, see if you can get any play left and right, also up and down, and then just kind of caddy corner it. This wheel doesn't have any play in it, but if it has side to side but not up and down, that's generally going to be play in the steering and the tie rod. If you have up and down play, that is normally going to be a wheel bearing, but with a wheel bearing you'll kind of have play all around. If it's just up and down play like this and not side to side, that can be a ball joint normally. The best way to do it is take a look and see what's actually moving. So that's just a general rundown, but you shouldn't have any play anywhere here. I also like to give the wheel a little hit too, so you can feel or see any kind of play. And then we're going to go around and do that for all four wheels. Now we're going to go a little bit deeper, pull each wheel off, take a look at our brake. Now that we have the wheel off, take a look at your tire, make sure it's wearing evenly. If you have any like waves, or if the inside or outside's worn funny, you probably have an alignment issue. You look around the tire, you'll find these bumps. Those are the wear bars. They're usually equal to about 2/32, so when your tread gets even with these bars or below, it's time to replace the tires. This tire looks okay. Taking a look at the brakes, looks like somebody just did them. The pads are almost brand new. And take a look at the struts. When the struts are blown, they'll usually have oil all around right below the shock here. There's a little bit of buildup here, but I wouldn't say that the suspension's blown or anything. Take a look at our control arm bushings back here. Looks like somebody recently replaced these because they're not all cracked and broken. Check our sway bar and sway bar end links for play. On the 180, while we're in here, we can take a look at the intercooler. When they leak, usually these guys have oil in the intake, so when it's leaking boost, you'll usually see some oil build up around this, but it looks nice and dry, so we shouldn't have any boost leaks there. Rotors look nice and smooth, no scoring or pitting on the rotors. This car probably stayed inside wherever it was.
The rubber balls.
Most of its life.
Those are funny looking.
Taking a look underneath, we just want to do a quick inspection for any leaks. For the mileage on this thing, this is probably one of the cleanest I've seen underneath as far as leaks and that stuff goes. Looks like somebody definitely kept up with the maintenance on this car. It's a little wet around the drain plug here, which is probably just from oil changes. I don't see any coolant leaks. Everything's nice and dry. Even on the back of the motor here in the transmission, we don't have any leaks out of the transmission. I do see it's a little bit wet. I don't know if you guys can see up here at the charge pipe, where it goes in that pancake pipe. There's a little bit of oil buildup there, which is probably just oil coming from the turbo. At this kind of mileage on that turbo, I'd find it weird if it wasn't leaking a little bit of oil past the seals. That's probably the least of our worries. Taking a look under the rest of the car, not a whole lot here to look at on most cars except for exhaust leaks. Your brake lines, all that stuff looks fine though. Looks like this thing's got a full 3-inch exhaust on it. Okay, somebody did a clamp job here, but we'll have to take it into work and do some welding on it. But yeah, this car is super clean. It definitely was kept in a garage for most of its life. Steering rack's not even leaking. Everything's just nice. Real quick, we're just going to take a look at the fluids here. Never want to open your cooling when it's hot. This thing's cooled down a little bit. It still had a little bit of pressure. You heard it release there. If you ever want to know if you got pressure in there, go ahead and squeeze this top hose over here before you take the cap off. Over here. Brandy, Miss Cameraman.
It smells gross.
Well, come here. Before you open that cap, just give this a squeeze. If it squeezes like this, nice and easy, then you should be good to open it. Proceed with caution. If that hose is nice and firm or so hot you can't even touch it, do not open the cooling system yet. And that is terrible. Can you guys see all those copper flakes in there? That is the last thing I want to see in a car. Just when I thought this car was too good to be true, somebody put some kind of head gasket or radiator repair through the cooling system. So that makes me wonder, A, why did they do that? And 2, that stuff usually ruins your entire cooling system. So never put any of that stuff in there. It may seal up the leak. It probably won't seal up the leak, but what it will do is clog your heater core. It'll clog all the cooling passages in your engine. It'll clog up your radiator. So that's kind of unfortunate that that's in there. Moving forward, we'll check our power steering fluid, which is probably fine because it didn't make any noise. Looks like it could be topped off, but it does have it and it looks pretty clean. Washer fluid looks low, not a big deal. Take a look at our engine oil with the notorious Mark IV dipstick tube that pulls off. Engine oil looks pretty clean. Let me wipe it off here so we can get an accurate measurement. Looks like it, if anything, it's over full, but the garage isn't quite level, so that could be part of it.
Now wipe up your mess.
Take a peek at the timing belt here. It says it was just done at 191.625, but then again, anyone could just write that with marker. So you always want to take an actual look. And just eyeballing it, that belt looks pretty new, so I'm going to take the word for it being done at 191. Looks like we do have some oil over here on top of the transmission. So we might have a slight oil leak somewhere. I know the customer did just replace the valve cover gasket before we got it, and it looks like that was leaking up here, so yeah, it's pretty wet. Whenever you replace gaskets, it's always a good idea to degrease the engine around them, clean everything up so you can make sure that they're not still leaking after you replace them, or so a shop doesn't think that they're leaking when they're still new. Take a quick look at the serpentine belt. No cracks or nothing, so should be okay on that. And that's how you check over a car, at least this car, MK4 Jetta. Alright, so after checking this thing out, we got a check engine light code P0704 faulty clutch switch. We have a bad transmission mount. We're doing a radiator flush because of all that stop leak in the cooling system. We have to adjust the shift linkage. We're going to hook up that N75 valve and check for other vacuum leaks and a tag light bulb. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Maybe this gave you some info for you to check out your own cars, how to look over something before you buy it. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see us repair these things, stay tuned next week. We're going to start doing Friday 7 p.m. weekly uploads. So in next week's video we will be doing all the repairs and stuff after we get this stuff authorized with the customer.
Say something cool.
Over and out.